Hello everybody. So today we're going to talk about solving equations with unique solutions. So you might think that every single linear equation has only one answer. So for example, maybe x equals 1 or x equals 3/4, something like that. But that's not necessarily true. So there are some times in mathematics where linear equations have things other than just one answer. Okay? So we're going to talk about some of those situations today. So let's say we have the following equation, and before we solve this equation, this lesson builds on the previous lesson, solving multi-step linear equations. So if you haven't watched that one, go ahead and take a look at that one. Okay, so let's say we have this equation right here. 7x minus 3 equals 3x plus 4x plus 6. So if we draw our line through the equal sign, the first thing we look to do is distribute, but there's no parentheses. So the second thing we look to do is combine like terms. So on the left-hand side, we don't have any like terms, right? On the right-hand side, we have 3x plus 4x. That's going to be 7x. Okay. Now our third step would be to get our variables on the same side so we can combine them. So by doing the inverse operation. So in either case, I would subtract 7x. And they would cancel over here, but they also cancel over here. So both of these equal 0. So what's left in the equation is negative 3 equals 6. So the variable canceled, and we have negative 3 equals 6. So what do we do now? Well, we can't finish solving it. So what this tells us, if the variables and we're left with a false statement, that means the answer is what's called no solution. But that's a symbol for empty set, okay? You could also write the words no solution. Either one is fine. Okay, a lot of people like this symbol because it's cool to make. But basically what this means is there's no number in the world that would make, if we substitute in for x, would make the left equal to the right. And you could actually try out different numbers. So for example, if we just pick a number at random, let's try 1. Well, if we plug in 1 over here, 1 times 7 is 7. 7 minus 3 is 4, right? Well, let's plug in 1 here and here and do all our math. So we get 3 plus 4 plus 6. That's 13. So it doesn't equal 4. So guess what? If you picked any other number, that same number for x, plugged it in, you would never get the left-hand side to equal the right-hand side. So actually, there are linear equations that don't have a solution. Okay? So the answer is no solution for that. I wrote S there. I think no solution would be better without an S. Let's fix that. There we go. So there are other situations you could have in solving a linear equation as well. So let's say we have this equation right here. So we have 3 times the quantity x minus 2 minus x. That's going to equal negative 2 times the quantity x plus 3 plus 4x. So we'll draw our line through the equal sign. Our first step is to distribute. So we get 3x minus 6, and then bring down your negative x. We also distribute on this side. Negative 2x minus 6 plus 4x. Your second step is to combine like terms. Well, 3x plus a negative x would be 2x. And then over here, we would combine like terms. Negative 2x plus 4x is 2x. Now, if you look at this, these two sides are identical. They're mirror images of one another. If you like, you can take it one step further, subtract 2x from both sides, and the variable will cancel. But now we have negative 6 equals negative 6. If you really wanted to, you could add 6 to both sides, but you get something like 0 equals 0. But notice the variable canceled, right? So if the sides are identical, like identical twins, or if the variable cancels and you're left with a true statement, that's going to be the answer of all real numbers. Okay? And a lot of times there's a symbol for that. It would be like an R with a double stem on it. Okay? Either one, if you want to write that, is fine. Okay? But what that means is that any number you pick in the world, any real number you pick in the world, if you plug that number into x into both sides of the equation, the left-hand side would always equal the right-hand side. Always. Okay? So just so you're aware of these two situations, with no solution, the variable cancels and you're left with a false statement. Okay? But notice again the variable canceled in both spots. With all real solution, the sides would be identical, or if you want to take it one step further, the variable cancels, but you're left with a true statement. Okay? So if the variable cancels, but you're left with a true statement, that means the answer is all real numbers. And again, what that means is that any number in the world, if you plug it in for x, real number, it will make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. Okay? So let's do two more problems for practice. Okay? Okay, so here's our third example. Now I titled number 1 because it's our practice problems. So we're going to solve this equation in front of us. So draw a line through the equal sign. On the left-hand side, there's not much we can do. On the right-hand side, we're going to distribute. So we get negative 15x plus 15. Negative times a negative is positive there. Our next step is to combine like terms. So there's only like terms on the right-hand side. So I'll rewrite the left. And 15 plus 4 is 19. Okay. Now we want to get our variable terms on the same side. So we would add 15x to both sides. You could also subtract 6x if you wanted to. We get 21x. This is a great problem to do. And the reason why I did this problem is because, for two reasons. When we start to introduce no solution and all real solutions, then for some reason students think that happens all the time, and that's not the case. No solution, all real solutions is a situation that happens it's more of a rarity when solving linear equations. But it does happen, so you have to be aware of it. Okay? So our last step here is to divide by 21, and a second reason we did this problem is to remind you that not every linear equation where the variables don't cancel, so the variables don't cancel here, right? Of course not. But it doesn't always work out to be an integer. So 22 divided by 21, 21 does not go into 22, so we could just leave it as 22 over 21 as our final answer. Just make sure you simplify, but that is the most simplified form. And then finally our last one here. So try this one totally on your own. So the next 15 seconds will be blank. Okay, so hopefully you did this problem on your own. On the left-hand side, we can't do too much, so we'll just rewrite that 10x minus 4. On the right-hand side, we can distribute and get 10x minus 4. So at this point, you could actually tell, since the sides are identical, it's all real numbers. Okay? If you want to take it a step further, you could subtract 10x from both sides. But at that point, your sides are identical as well. Negative 4 equals negative 4. So the variable cancels, but you're left with a true statement. I didn't circle that because the answer. I'm just circling it because to show you. You have to state the answer is all real numbers. That is your final answer. And again, that means that any real number, if you plug it in up here and here, will make the left equal to the right. And I'd like you to try that. So just to make sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, if you take any number in the world, take that same number, plug it into the original equation, you'll get the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. Let's actually try it out real quick. So I'll pick a random number 3. Okay, so let's do 3. So, 3 times 10 is 30, right? 30 minus 4 is 26. So we plugged in x equals 3, right? Because any number works, any number we pick. So we're seeing if 3 works. So we get 26 on the left. Let's plug in 3 right here. 3 times 5 is 15, right? 15 minus 2 is 13. 13 times 2 is 26, so it checks out. So 3 was an answer. But guess what? If we picked any number besides 3, like 4 or negative 7 or, 3/4, any number you pick, any real number, or 0.2, any number you picked, if you did the math on it, the left-hand side would equal the right-hand side. When it's all real numbers, when the answer is no solution, there's no number in the world, no real number in the world, that will make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side if you substitute in for x. So there are linear equations that have no possible answer. Then you have your regular linear equations where you get an answer, that's a number. And then you have equations where the answer is all real numbers. Again, no solution, all real numbers. They're more of the rarities. when solving linear equations, but they certainly do happen. So thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully you found this video lesson helpful. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Have a fantastic day, everybody.